He never heard the bomb. There was no warning. No sound. Just a flash. So bright it erased the world in front of him. For a fraction of a second. Everything turned white. And in that moment, Kenji Nakamura made a small decision. Almost instinct. But that decision would decide if he lived or disappeared with the city around him. August 6, 1945. 8:15 in the morning. Hiroshima. He didn't hear the explosion. He felt it. A wall of pressure slammed into his body, knocking the air out of his lungs. Windows shattered inward. Glass tore through the room. The structure around him twisted, then collapsed. Kenji was thrown across the floor, hard enough to break his breath. His back struck wood. His head snapped to the side. For a moment, nothing made sense. Just a high ringing in his ears. Dust swallowing everything. Weight pressing down on his chest. He tried to breathe, but the air burned going in. Hot. Thick. Wrong. He forced his eyes open. Shapes moved through the haze. Walls, no longer straight. The ceiling, splitting apart above him. And then, a sound. Low. Groaning. The building, shifting. Wood bending under pressure. Support beams, starting to give way. Kenji understood one thing. If he stayed here, even a few seconds longer, he might never get up again. The doorway ahead. Blocked. Wood. Glass. Debris tangled together. He forced his way through, shoulder scraping against splintered edges. Then, he stepped outside. And stopped. The world wasn't damaged. It was gone. The street flattened. Buildings reduced to broken shapes, scattered remains. Fire was already rising. Small flames. Growing. And people. They were there. Moving. But not like people. They drifted forward, slow, unsteady. Arms hanging wrong. Skin burned. Clothes torn, or gone. Some whispered names. Some tried to scream. But no sound came out. Kenji froze. Just for a moment. Because this wasn't bombing. This wasn't anything he understood. Then, a sharp crack behind him. He turned. The building collapsed. The exact place he had been standing. Gone. Buried under dust and wood. If he had waited even a second longer, he wouldn't have made it out. He rolled onto his side. Pain shot through his arm, sharp, wrong. But not enough to stop him. He pushed himself up. His legs shook beneath him. Unstable, unfamiliar. Dust filled his mouth. He coughed hard, and nearly collapsed again. For a second, his body tried to give up. To stay down. To wait. But above him, a crack. Then another. The building was failing. Kenji moved. One step. Then another. Heavy. Slow. Like the air itself was holding him back. People were moving in every direction. Running. Calling out. Searching. No one knew where to go, and that made everything worse. Kenji felt it too. The instinct to run. To follow the movement. To escape without thinking. But something held him back. Because nothing about this was normal. Running blindly could take him deeper into danger, into fire, collapsing structures, or crowds that would trap him instead of saving him. He needed space. Control. So instead of following the flow, Kenji stepped away from it. He spotted a structure nearby, damaged, but still partially standing. Half collapsed. Half intact. It looked like it could fall at any moment. Or hold just long enough to matter. He approached carefully, watching the frame, listening for movement. Every step felt like a risk. The wood creaked slightly, but held. For now. Inside, it was darker. Quieter. The noise outside dropped away. Replaced by something heavier. The air was still thick with dust, but calmer than outside. Too calm. He sat down for a moment, his hands trembling, his breathing uneven, his body trying to catch up with everything that had just happened. Outside, the sounds continued, distant cries, dragging footsteps, fire slowly growing. It wasn't stopping. It was spreading. He closed his eyes briefly, trying to slow his breathing. Just a few seconds. Just enough to think. Then he smelled it. Burning. Not far anymore. Stronger now. Closer. The fire was spreading. Staying felt safe. But only for a moment. Kenji stood again. His body resisted, demanding rest, but he ignored it. Rest here meant being trapped. He stepped back outside. The smoke had thickened, rising into the sky and blocking out the morning light. He moved carefully now, choosing each step. Avoiding open flames. Avoiding unstable structures. Every movement deliberate. Ahead, a large group of people moved in one direction. The river. Burned and desperate, survivors rushed toward the water. Some were already inside, crowding the edges, pushing, collapsing. The water looked like relief. Kenji approached slowly. Watching. Something felt wrong. Too many people. Too much desperation. He knelt at the edge, touching the water. Cool. His throat burned with thirst. Every instinct told him to rush in. But he didn't. He forced himself to slow down. He drank only a small amount. Washed his face. Then stepped back. Away from the crowd. Because survival here wasn't about relief. It was about control. As darkness fell, the fires didn't stop. They grew. The city glowed under an orange sky filled with smoke. Kenji moved less now, conserving energy, staying alert. He found another structure, checked it carefully, then stayed inside. Not fully relaxed. Not fully still. At one point, he woke suddenly, coughing. The smoke had thickened. For a moment, he couldn't breathe. Panic surged quickly. He forced himself upright, controlling his breathing. Slowly. In and out, again. The feeling passed. But only just. That night he didn't sleep. He endured. Morning didn't bring relief. It revealed the truth. More destruction. More silence. More loss. The city wasn't something to survive inside anymore. It was something to escape. Kenji stood. Looked once at what remained. Then made his decision. Not in panic. Not in fear. But in control. He would move outward. Step by step. Away from the center. Away from the fire. Away from the unknown. Kenji Nakamura faced the same destruction as everyone else. The same fire. The same fear. The same chaos. But he didn't let it control him. He paused when others ran. He moved when staying became dangerous. He held back when desperation took over. He made decisions. Even when nothing made sense. And because of that, he didn't just survive the blast. He survived everything that came after it. Step by step. Choice by choice. Until the burning city behind him was no longer something he was trapped inside, but something he had already walked out of. Alive.